Yo, what's up, dudes? What's up? So, here we are. Thanksgiving morning. What time is it? It's 12:55 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. And, you know what brought me out? TH3. So, as a lot of you know, a couple of days ago, by the way, how's it going? Oh, good. A couple of days ago, after 5 years of development, Overloud, an Italian-based company, released the update to TH2, known as TH3. And it's pretty awesome, actually. There's some things, I'm not crazy about. Other things I really like. And a couple of glaring omissions that I'm probably going to rant about. I'm looking your way, MP3 player. And but overall, it does sound pretty awesome. So I'm running the demo. I didn't upgrade. I am running the demo. It goes for 15 days, and it's fully featured. There's nothing, there's cut out of it. It's not a light version in any way. But and I gotta say that my first sort of gripe about it was that a lot of the patches were sort of bus overdriven. And I had to go through and adjust the levels and a whole bunch of patches because I was playing it and I was like, that does not sound right. That sounds like digital overfuzz. And I would look in and a whole bunch of patches had a compressor set up at the front with its level all the way up. And the name of the patch was like Dreamy Clean. And it was like all fuzzy. And I was like, why would they put a compressor in front of an amp and turn the output level of the compressor all the way up? Did anyone even listen to it? It was really distorted. And there are lamps on some of the equipment, a little overdrive lamp on some of the effects. And those were all like redlining, and the output was completely smashed to the end. I was like, what is going on here? A lot of them, I took the compressor out or turned it down to almost nothing. Patch sounded incredible after that, much better. So it was really weird. A whole bank of patches were sort of completely overdriven, and I thought it was a problem with the product until I got to the old patches from TH2, because those are included. And I started going through those, and they all sounded great. And I was like, well, clearly, and I had to turn the volume up a little bit. I had to turn the output volume way down on some of those other banks. And I was able to, I had to turn it back up once I got to the TH2 banks, and I realized that those just first, a lot of the new banks, the bus in the patch is completely saturated. And it gives, like, not good distortion, but bad distortion, But you got to tweak those, bring those levels down, or just dump that compressor completely. And sounds much better. So TH3, $199 is the price right now. I don't know how long that price will last. That is on the higher end. I think their list price is $299. That's on the higher end, but there's no amp store. They just give you everything. So, on one side is like guitar, rig, and TH3. You know, you just get everything they have, and there's no amp store. And then, you know, the opposite side of that would be like bias, revalver, amplitube, where you get so much, you know, for so much money that you spend. You know, maybe spending $99, so like half the money of what this is, but you don't get nearly as many, you know, items, not as nearly as many amps or cabs or anything like that, and you buy more. You know, in terms of what you get, Revalver I think is the best in terms of like the sheer number of items that you get for free when you buy into, like, I think it's a $99 package. So this is $199, but it comes with over 200 pieces of gear. You know, it's pretty cool. There's 21 new guitar amplifiers, right? So it just goes to show you that they, you know, they really pack it in there. 3 new bass amplifiers, 2 new bass cabs, 5 new guitar cabs, 10 new effects, improved DSP, completely redesigned, and we can take a look at the GUI here. So they put the components on the right, they put the presets on the left. That's a complete change from last time. The backdrop is now this sort of crosshatch steel pattern. I was trying to change that. In the last one, you could change that backdrop. I looked it up in the manual. I didn't see it, and I've been right-clicking and, you know, joy-clicking all over the place to try and get something to pop up to change the backdrop, but I haven't seen it. It's under settings somewhere, but I don't see it. You know, settings seems to be just, you know, for the tuner, auto mute, you know, a few things here. Here's my audio settings. You see this copy's not authorized. It's a demo copy. You can see up here, full featured demo. And that's it. So on the left here, this top part, that's the bank, and the bottom part is the preset. So there's just a bank and preset now. At the very top, they have a search. They tell you what it is and indicates whether it's been changed. Like if you've changed anything, this sort of lights up right here. And that's it. You just get rid of it here. It's actually a little bit, even if you can believe it, even more simplified than the last version. And then on the bottom here, you can change the graphics to 20%, you know, 50%, 75%, 100%. You can even blow it up if you want to zoom in and get to the, you know, the fine details of something, which is appreciated, actually, because sometimes you can't read it. This is a split rig, so we have an input with a little bit of a gate on it. You can see the gate amount is at minimum. Then we have a little Tube Screamer copy called the Tube 9. And then we have this like TH3 splitter. So here, the splitter is going to split into these 2 different amps. So here we have it like off, sort of right down the middle. Here it is normal. I like that one. That's the one I had it on when I started the video. And then here it is in a band pass. So they each have their own quality to them. You know, I really like that feature of, this was around in the prior version, actually, you know, but these are 2 new amps. Actually, one is new and one isn't. So the Heavy 51 looks new, but it's not. Let's talk about that. They took the old TH1 amps and pulled them out of that god-awful head. The Variac's gone. Remember the Variac gone? Remember that head that had the slider that no one used because it sounded awful? So you would put like 2 amp heads in, right? So you'd have like, you could put like a Vox on one side, the Marshall on the other, and you could slide through and like combine them. And every time I moved that slider, there was the slider of like sounding awful, worse and worse and worse until it got into the middle, and then better and better until it reached the other side. Because the individual amps sounded great, but combined, I never thought they sounded that great. That amp head is gone. But all the models that were in that amp head, that old TH1 head, quite frankly, that's what it was. It was a leftover from TH1. Have all been extracted from just being a little name down in a, you know, a window in the head to getting their own graphic, right? They didn't do it for the Lynchbox head. They just did it for the TH1 head. And this is one of them. This is the Heavy 51, right? And then the one below that is the Caliper Studio 55, Studio Lead 50. I'm pretty sure that's a Mesa copy, right? That's a 50 caliber. And we have a little output mixer. And then we have our cab. We could double click that and bring up the features. It's a little simpler than the last one, quite frankly. Here we're using Respire. I could turn on a high pass filter, a low pass filter. I could phase invert it. I can turn a bunch of different mics on. I can set ambience. I can set a mix on up to 4 different microphones, which is pretty cool, especially that 45-degree mic. It really does bring the presence out. And then after that we have the digital delay, and that's it for this patch. So very similar to TH2. All right, so that's sort of a very basic rundown. Let's just... And I saved a bunch of these. So here's one of those that had that compressor going. You can see the compressor. I'm sure I have it. I probably have it over here on a screen, because I am screen recording. That's the Metropolitan head, a Brunetti, the Brunetti Metropolitan. Beautiful sounding head. Of course, when it showed up here, it sounded like this. I was like, that doesn't sound right. This is, again, here's another patch I completely rescued. The single man, the Brunetti, another Brunetti. Beautiful. Once it's cleaned up a little bit. I mean, that compressor was like overdriving the chorus. It did not sound good. Again, now that that's taken care of, it's fine. So these are going to start clean and get more dirty. And I believe almost every single one of these, yeah, so here's the new DV mark. So these are almost all new amplifiers. This is the tumble. Again, the tumble was built into TH1 head. Extracted, new looking cab. Top 30. Not bad. Which head is this? This is the JC120 head, which is a new. That's nice, right? Nice effects. What do they got going here? Chorus phaser, a digital delay, a little compressor, and a plate reverb. You know, one thing I will say is that TH3 is not shy to turn the effects on. Sounds pretty good. I think this one had the compressor, and I just pulled the compressor completely out of it. I was like, it doesn't need it. Same with this one. Had a compressor front loaded on it. Was killing the whole signal chain. That sounds much better. This is the England. It's one of their new amp heads. Which is obviously an Engel clone. They got that analog filter though. Let me turn that off so we can hear the amp head. Nice. It's bright, but it's got quite a bit of warmth to it. Let's see. Dark face. Here's one with a compressor. This like whole bank had a compressor. For the first item. And every single patch had the compressor at max value. For level. And it was overdriving the input of the amp. That sounds a million times better. Good. Plexi lead. This one, I think I turned the quiet off because I felt it was choking notes a little bit, but I have it on minimum now. Is it? I also have a gate on though. Let's check that master gate. See how it's opening right up? But it's also noisy. So that's a pretty good gate compared to the master gate. Much more sensitive, right? Pretty quiet though. I mean, that's a big difference in sound. Okay, and then to save, I just right click and hit save, and boom, it's saved. Close the master controls. Let's try Plexi Rocker. Well, there. See, now it's coming through. See, now I wish my master gate was just up, just like there. Rock 75. Now, I wonder if they're counting these amps that were pulled out of TH1. I mean, maybe they were revamped as the new part of the new 21 amps. They probably are. Well, mid-pushed or what, huh? That's the Tumble, which is their version of a Dumble. All right, we'll go right through. At the Brunetti. I will say that I find the new Brunetti amps, even if it's a copy of a Brunetti from TH2, like this, which is the Mercury, right? I find that it sounds better, right? So they definitely updated those Brunetti amps in a major way. They definitely sound nicer. This is their Soldano. And I'm sure if I turn this on, we're going to get a lot more mids. I like that. So this is, again, new. Bass Face 59. With the new vanilla distortion box. Ugh. Probably should have played guitar today. Again, the top 30. But this time it has a clone of a Boss SD1. And I think these patches get progressively more distorted as we go through. Well, there you go. Again, the Brunetti, and again, it sounds better than the Brunetti in TH2. That Mercury is definitely nicer. And again, I find some of the there you can see the patch volumes. This is much louder than the previous patch. This is an authorized head from DV Mark. Pretty good. Again, I've tweaked a lot of these patches. we could change how that comes out by just using this crossover. Definitely makes a noticeable difference. Again, those DV Mark amps sound really cool. You know, that's nice. See, I find that this box really gets that nice tight cutoff. Not there. Pretty good. Another Brunetti. This is the Revo. That was in TH2. I always found the Revo to be way too mid-pushed. The clean on the Revo is really nice, though. Another dual rig DV Mark in the England head. All right, how many are we going to go through? All right, that's probably a pretty good sampling, you know. What, more? See, again, here's that one, but I do like it, what I think, with the crossover set there. Anyway, so here's one where again, so this is how the patch sounds standing. That sounds way overdriven to me, and of course I look and I can say this is totally overdriven right here at this bus line, because why? They have the level. They have the level cranked up max. There it is. That sounds more correct. And the last one, this is the Acoustic Emulator. And is it on? Yeah, there it is. All right, enough of me butchering songs. Let me just wrap up on this because we're probably going like a half hour and more. I have a little bit of mixed bag about TH3. All right, so the positives, the amps always, they sound great. The amps sound great. The new amps sound really good. The new Respire 2 technology sounds amazing. That's the cab technology. You can load third-party IRs. The interface for the patches is better than the last one, but not as good as Guitar Rig 5. Guitar Rig 5, out of all of them, still wins for the patch selector because you can star them and you can put them in separate banks. You can have the same patch in different banks. It's a better system. It really is. Guitar Rig has the best guitar patch system. And then, the lack of the MP3 player. It's like, I can't believe it. 5 years later. I think I made that request in April of 2011. I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe even March. It's like, this thing really needs an MP3 player. And 5 years later, no MP3 player. And, I can't believe that it's that hard to code in a little MP3 player. And I don't know. I mean, JMUp Pro on my iPad does it. There's a lot of products out there that have that built right in. Guitar Rig has it. I don't know if Amplitude does. I'd have to check. PV doesn't. And it's a glaring oversight because I think they should all have an MP3 or a wave player in them. And again, I think Guitar Rig does it best with the 2 tape decks. That's sort of like the way to go. I doubt that's patented, right? I mean, playing back audio in a software package, I'm sure, is pretty basic. So anyway, overall, I think TH3 is, a really awesome piece of software. And once I got past figuring out that a lot of the patches were overdriven, when I first tried it out, I got to say, I thought it sounded awful. And it wasn't until I realized that the patches were all overdriven that it made a big difference in how much I liked it. And now I really do love it. I've spent a good part of like 2 or 3 hours sort of going through fixing patches, getting everything, in a state where, it sounds as good as it can possibly sound. And I'm just surprised that it left the factory like that. But anyway, I suppose different instruments have different inputs. And but I have my input set correctly. It seems to be in the patch bus. So I'm going to say TH3, pretty awesome. I recommend you get it. I give it a, definitely a thumbs up and and a recommended buy. It is, one of the more expensive packages out there, but it does contain a lot of stuff. Get ready to tweak the patches when you get it, but it's really just setting the volume and really nothing else. And, maybe someday we'll get an MP3 player. Yeah, TH4, is that what we're doing now? We're already looking forward to TH4. But, all right, guys, that's it. A lot of people wanted me to talk about TH3. They wanted to hear TH3. And I think we just did it for a good 40 minutes. And have a happy Thanksgiving, because it is Thanksgiving. And I'll be back. I have 15 days on the I probably have like 12 days left on the software, and I'll shoot a few more videos. We'll check it in a little bit more. All right, guys, that's it. As always, thanks so much for stopping by, and rock on.